Hey, Steelers Nation, it's time to sit down, take a deep breath, and really talk about what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the state of our quarterback situation, because there's a lot to unpack here. Every time we think we've got this offense figured out, it throws us another curveball. And now, all eyes are back on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, the veteran who was supposed to bring calm, control, and championship energy. But lately, what we're seeing from him out there doesn't look like control. It looks like a man running from ghosts, and those ghosts are wearing the colors of every defensive line he faces. You can see it from the very first drive. He drops back, feels that first whiff of pressure, and instead of stepping up or setting his feet, he's already bailing out, sliding to the right, trying to extend a play that has no business being extended. It's like he's haunted by muscle memory, that instinct from years ago when he could outrun anyone. But this isn't the same league he dominated in Green Bay. Defenses are faster, smarter, and hungrier, and that pocket that used to feel like home now looks more like a trap waiting to close. And to be fair, it's not all on him. That offensive line, they're giving him almost nothing to work with. You can watch the tape. He's getting hit early, getting hit often, and when that starts happening, it gets into your head. You start anticipating the hit before it even comes. That's what Rodgers looks like right now. A quarterback bracing for impact on every snap. You can't execute when you're in survival mode, and that's exactly where he's been living the last few weeks. Remember back in Week 3, when the Steelers handled New England? Rodgers didn't hit the turf once. The protection held up beautifully, and he looked sharp, poised, confident. The throws came out clean, his timing was on, and he didn't look like a guy who was 41 years old. But then the cracks started to show. A couple of sacks here, a few hits there, and suddenly that rhythm disappeared. By the time the Packers game rolled around, you could see it plain as day. He was nervous in the pocket, ducking out of plays before they developed. 3 sacks that night, and that was the beginning of the slide. Since then, it's been a slow-motion collapse. 3 sacks against the Colts, 3 more against the Chargers. One of them for a safety that just crushed the momentum. And when you look at his numbers, they tell the same story. Completion percentage dipping, yards per attempt dropping, touchdowns drying up. Against the Chargers in Englewood, it was flat-out ugly. 16 completions on 31 attempts, barely 160 yards, 2 picks, and 1 garbage-time touchdown that didn't fool anyone. There wasn't a single pass that traveled more than 27 yards through the air. It was lifeless football, and you could see it in his body language. Shoulders slumped, eyes searching, frustration boiling over. Now, some people want to write it off, say it's just a rough patch, that it's still Aaron Rodgers, and he'll find a way. And maybe that's true. He's earned that benefit of the doubt with everything he's done in his career. But what makes this different, what makes this stretch feel heavier, is his age and the punishment he's taken. 21 seasons in the league, countless hits, surgeries, setbacks. That stuff adds up. You can see in the way he moves, in the way he avoids contact. He's not the same guy who would stand tall in the pocket and take one to deliver a strike downfield. These days, you can tell he wants no part of those collisions. And honestly, who can blame him? No one wants to be thrown around like a rag doll at 41, not even a future Hall of Famer. The problem is that football doesn't care about how much you've accomplished. The game keeps moving, the defenders keep coming, and the hits don't stop just because you're a legend. And right now, Rodgers is caught between who he used to be and who he has to be to survive. That's the crossroads we're seeing every Sunday. The great improviser trying to adjust to a body that won't always do what his mind wants. You can tell he's irritated with everything around him, too. The receivers dropping easy catches, running the wrong routes, or simply not getting separation. Cameras catch him on the sidelines, shaking his head, muttering under his breath, probably saying what we're all thinking, that this offense looks completely lost. He's glancing back at the sideline, maybe questioning play calls, maybe just venting. Either way, the frustration is visible. It's boiling over. And look, I'm not here to say Rodgers is finished, but I do think he's in a place where he has to reinvent himself fast. Because what we're seeing right now is a man trying to play the same game he's always played, only without the same physical tools to back it up. He's got to trust the pocket, trust his line, even if they haven't earned it, and trust his timing. He can't keep trying to run from everything. That's how you end up exactly where he is now, beat up, behind on the scoreboard, and questioning everything. The crazy part? We've seen this movie before. Remember when Russell Wilson came to Pittsburgh thinking he could do the same thing he did back in his Seattle days? Rolling out, trying to buy time, holding the ball forever? And then reality hit him, literally. Defenders caught up to him, dragged him down, and everyone, even his own linemen, started asking, what is Russ doing? Rodgers is on that same dangerous path. It's not that he can't still throw, his arm is fine, but when you're constantly bailing out, constantly looking for an escape route, the rest of the offense never finds its rhythm. That's the thing people forget. A quarterback's calm is contagious. When he stands in there, takes the hit, and makes the throw, the line starts believing they can hold. The receivers trust the play. Everything clicks. That's what Mason Rudolph did back in 2023 when the pocket was collapsing every other down. He didn't flinch. He stood there, took the shots, delivered the ball. And guess what? The offense settled in. The running game opened up. The receivers started creating plays again. It wasn't magic, it was composure. Now, I'm not saying Rodgers needs to be benched or that we're anywhere near that kind of conversation yet. But if this offense is going to pull itself out of the mud, he has to find some of that Mason Rudolph spirit, the ability to hang in and take whatever comes. Because right now, he's making the whole team play nervous, and nervous football loses games. There's still a ton of season left, but this trend can't keep going. 3 straight games with the same problems, the same sacks, the same missed reads. That's not coincidence, that's a pattern. And unless Rodgers changes the way he's approaching these moments, it's only going to get worse. He doesn't need to turn back the clock 15 years. He just needs to steady the ship, find rhythm in short passes, trust his checkdowns, lean on the run game. Let the offense breathe a little instead of forcing everything downfield. Because when this team has balance, they can hang with anyone. We've seen flashes, those drives where everything flows, where Warren finds space, where Pickens gets loose, where Rodgers looks like his old self again. But those moments fade too quickly, swallowed up by hesitation, by fear, by trying to do too much. And that's what's got to change. Rodgers doesn't need to be the hero on every snap. He just needs to be the leader, calm, efficient, composed. The rest will follow. But until he finds that version of himself again, the one who trusts the process instead of running from it, this offense is going to keep sputtering. And Steelers Nation knows it. We've seen this story too many times before to pretend it's something new. So here's the challenge. Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old, beaten up but not broken, needs to look in the mirror and decide what kind of quarterback he wants to be from here on out. The kind who runs from the pressure, or the kind who stands in and makes it bend to his will. Because one of those paths leads to a comeback story, and the other leads straight to the bench. When you look at what's happening beyond Rodgers, it's clear that this isn't just a quarterback issue. There's a larger identity crisis going on with this Steelers offense, and it starts with the way it's being called. Arthur Smith was brought in to give this team an edge, to make it physical again, to remind everyone that Pittsburgh football means bruising defenses and punishing runs. But somehow, that identity hasn't shown up on the field. Instead, what we've seen are flashes of brilliance buried under confusion, inconsistency, and some head-scratching decisions. Statistically, the picture isn't pretty. The Steelers rank near the bottom of the league in total offense. We're talking about under 300 yards per game, sitting 29th overall, only a few struggling teams below them. That's not where a team with this much talent should be. And even though they're somewhere in the middle of the pack in scoring offense, that number feels deceptive. A lot of those points came off turnovers when the defense did the heavy lifting by giving them a short field. That's not sustainable. You can't live off scraps and expect to compete in January. And that's where the frustration with Smith comes in. His play calling just hasn't matched the personnel he has. Too often, we see long developing plays on second and short, or deep shots when the situation clearly calls for something simple to move the chains. It's like there's no rhythm to what they're doing. If you watch the tape from the Englewood game, you'll see it over and over, 2nd and 1, 2nd and 4, and instead of running the ball or giving Rodgers something quick, they go for a deep shot that has no chance. Then a penalty hits or a sack, and suddenly it's 3rd and long. That's not bad luck. That's bad planning. This team was built to control the tempo, not chase it. They've got one of the most physical tight ends in football in Darnell Washington, and yet he's practically invisible in key moments. You got a running back like Jalen Warren who runs angry, who creates space even when there's none, and yet he goes entire stretches barely seeing the ball. And don't even get me started on George Pickens. When he's involved early, everything changes. The defense loosens up, the box opens for the run game, and Rodgers starts to find rhythm. But too often, they forget he's even there until they're desperate. That's not how you build consistency. It's strange because we saw glimpses early in the season of what this offense could be. Heavy sets, strong play action, a mix of runs and quick passes that wore defenses down. That was the kind of football Steelers fans were promised. Smash mouth with a modern twist. But somewhere along the way, that plan disappeared. Maybe it's frustration, maybe it's panic, maybe it's Rodgers himself checking out of certain calls. But whatever it is, it's keeping them from being who they're supposed to be. The problem isn't that Arthur Smith doesn't know football. The man has proven he can design creative, efficient offenses when things click. The problem is that he hasn't stamped this team with a true identity. Every successful offense in the league, whether it's built around speed, physicality, or precision, has a clear blueprint. Right now, Pittsburgh's blueprint is just a messy sketch. Sometimes they look like a run-first team. Other times they look like they're trying to be the old Packers, and then they get lost somewhere in between. It's also about confidence. When the play calling makes sense, when the rhythm is there, everyone plays faster. The line fires off the ball. The receivers hit their marks. Rodgers trusts his reads. But when the calls feel random, when there's no flow, everyone tightens up. You can almost sense it, that hesitation, that second of uncertainty that turns a good play into a broken one. And this team can't afford that kind of hesitation anymore. The margin for error is too small. The division is too tough. They have to rediscover who they are, and that starts with doing the simple things well. Run the ball when the situation calls for it. Get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. Stop trying to force highlight moments every other drive. Football doesn't have to be complicated, especially not for a team that's supposed to win with toughness and discipline. You know what's crazy? The Steelers still have enough pieces to turn this around. The defense continues to keep them in games, buying time for the offense to figure itself out. And offensively, it's not like they're lacking talent. Rodgers might not be vintage Rodgers, but he can still deliver when given the right setup. The receivers are young, but explosive. The line, for all its struggles, has shown moments of cohesion when they stick to quick-hitting, balanced drives. So the solution isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about simplifying and committing to an identity that fits who they actually are, not who they think they should be. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Something's brewing in Pittsburgh, and it's loud enough to shake the Steel City. Reports are trickling out of the team facility that the Steelers have made multiple immediate roster and rotation changes, leaving players, analysts, and fans buzzing with speculation about what's really going on behind the scenes. While no official statement has been released, sources close to the situation describe a sudden shift in direction that could signal a significant tactical reset for the team moving forward. Whispers around the locker room hint that the changes weren't entirely expected. Several players were reportedly called into quick meetings early this morning, and what followed, according to one insider, felt like a shockwave through the building. Some believe the shakeup stems from internal discussions about consistency and leadership on both sides of the ball, while others suggest that frustration over recent performances finally reached a boiling point. The word accountability has been tossed around more than once in recent days. Coaches, it seems, are looking to send a clear message. Production matters. Reputation doesn't guarantee snaps. Fans have already taken to social media, dissecting every possible lineup combination and trying to guess which players might see expanded roles or reduced ones after the moves. There's also speculation that the front office had a hand in this decision, hinting that these adjustments could be the first in a larger plan leading up to a crucial stretch of the season. Some insiders are even suggesting that the Steelers might be positioning themselves for a future acquisition or a deeper personnel overhaul. For now, all anyone could do is wait and watch. Something has clearly shifted inside the organization, and it's got the entire NFL world talking. Whether this bold shakeup becomes a turning point or a source of turmoil remains to be seen, but one thing's certain. The Steelers have everyone's attention, and whatever's happening in Pittsburgh, it's not business as usual. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.